Saraswatiji, Honorable Minister of State, Independent Charge for Youth Affairs and Sports, and Additional Charge Minister of State, Independent Charge for Ayush, Government of India. Shri Sadhguruji, Founder, Isha Foundation, Dr. Ishwar V. Baswareddy ji, Director, Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, and Mrs. Upasana Arora ji, Co-Chair, ASSOCHAM National Empowerment Council, Chairperson, Yashoda Super Speciality Hospital, to grace this event. Today's theme is Yoga at Work, Path to Success. Will help people in this pandemic period, especially where all of us are working from home. Yoga is the best to adopt as a lifestyle habit. It helps us to build a strong physical, mental, and spiritual health system. The corporate world is very dynamic, mainly because of stiff competition, time constraint, challenges, and many other aspects which contributes to the level of an individual. To achieve a balanced life, there is no better solution than yoga. I sincerely hope that today's discussion will definitely encourage the workforce and help in bringing better productivity in their work. Now, I like to invite for opening remarks Mrs. Upasana Aroraji, Co-Chair, ASSOCHAM National Empowerment Council and Chairperson, Yashoda Super Speciality Hospital, the first Indian to be awarded the prestigious fellowship of International Society for Quality and Accreditation, mission member in CII Healthcare Mission on Lean and Six Sigma, NHS United Kingdom. She has been awarded at multiple forums for her contribution to the field of ethical healthcare practices, affordability, community empowerment, and women leadership. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Mavi, for giving me this opportunity. Today's topic is very relevant because when everybody is working from home, or sometimes they are coming to office also, but there is one thing common in between. We are not feeling very, happy. There is low self-esteem, or sometimes people are suffering from depression. So yoga, path to success. Today's topic is really a very good. Yoga at home, yoga at work, and path to success. Because happy employees create a happy workplace, and happy workplace means successful business. So if you think that you want to create a successful company, you need to make your employees happy. And yoga is the best way, because yoga is our ancient dharohar, and we are the one who started yoga, and now whole world is following that. Yoga is not an exercise. It's a basically way to keep yourself healthy, your mind and body. Your soul is happy after yoga. So I just want to tell everyone that there should be some rules at workplace also, that all employees has to go for yoga and meditation, because it's a food for soul. And when you are happy, you are away from negativity, you can give your 100%. So now I request to Mavi that she has to take this session further. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for the opening remarks. Now I like to invite for welcome remarks by Dr. Ishwar V. Baswareddy ji, Director, Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, Ministry of AYUSH, Government of India. Dr. Ishwar Baswareddy ji is the Director of Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, Ministry of AYUSH for the last 16 years. He is the Head of Institute Yoga Certification Board, Ministry of AYUSH since 2018. He is the President of National Yogasana Sports Federation, recognized body of Government of India, and Senior Vice President of International Yogasana Sports Federation, member Governing Council of Indian Yoga Association, and many other government and non-government organizations. Over to you, sir.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste. Hearty welcome to you all. Honorable Minister of State Independent Charge, Youth Affairs and Sports, and also the Minister of AYUSH, respected Shri Kiran Rijiju, most respected eminent yoga master, founder of Isha Foundation, Sadhguruji, President Ashichom, Shri Vineet Agrawalji, respected panelists, guests, yoga enthusiasts, my brothers and sisters who are joining this webinar through various social media platforms in India and abroad. My hearty welcome to you all. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all, our esteemed dignitaries, panelists, guests and viewers in today's virtual session of this International Day of Yoga 2021 Sunday discussion series on yoga. This time the theme of the series is Yoga at Work, Path to Success, organized by AYUSH Virtual Convention Center, Ministry of AYUSH, Ashichom and Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga. The Sunday's discussion series on yoga in collaboration with Ashichom was inaugurated by Honorable Minister respected Shri Kiran Rijiju on 16th May 2021 in the run-up to the International Day of Yoga 2021. Ministry of AYUSH is collaborating with various organizations, leading yoga institutions and stakeholders to conduct various programs to motivate the entire population to practice yoga and get benefited so that it should become a mass movement. It's my proud privilege to welcome Honorable Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports and also the Minister of AYUSH, respected Shri Kiran Rijiju, who is a yoga enthusiast, young and dynamic leader, and during the last 1 decade, he has shown his ability as a leader. And in the central government, including the Union Minister of States for Homes and various portfolio he has managed. Now under his dynamic leadership, both Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports and also Ministry of AYUSH are flourishing with his new dynamic vision, especially young-centric India. In this aspect, we are very proud to have respected Shri Kiran Rijiju, and with his direction, this entire weekly Sunday webinar series are being organized. On behalf of Ministry, on behalf of Ashichom, and on behalf of Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, it's my proud privilege to welcome the Honorable Minister, sir. Welcome. Now it's a matter of immense pleasure that we have amongst us most respected renowned yoga master, Yoga Guru, Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudevji, who is the founder of Isha Foundation, Coimbatore. Sadhguru is a yogi, a mystic, visionary, and author, a speaker and opinion maker of international renown. Sadhguru's celebrity engagement with life includes a deep involvement in many fields of diverse. 3 decades ago, Sadhguruji founded Isha Foundation in Coimbatore, a non-profit human service organization. With human well-being as its core of commitment, Isha is supported by over 11 million volunteers in more than 300 centers worldwide. Sadhguruji has been conferred the Padma Vibhushana, India's second highest civilian award. Apart from that, he is the youth icon with his talks and his literature. He is motivating the entire generation. What I found in Sadhguruji is his clarity of thoughts, his analytical ability, and he stayed forward in expressing his ideas and visions that made him very popular yoga master across the globe. Respected Sadhguruji, it's my honor to welcome you this webinar series on behalf of Ministry of AYUSH, on behalf of Ashuchom and on my own behalf. I heartily welcome you. Today we have with us Sri Vinut Agrawalji, President Ashuchom, who has worked in enhancing connect between government, industry and institutions. Sri Agrawalji has served as a president, director of many esteemed organizations. On behalf of Ministry of AYUSH and on behalf of Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, it's my privilege to extend hearty welcome to Sri Agrawalji. It's also my pleasure to welcome all the panelists, guests, media persons, yoga enthusiasts, and my dear yoga friends who are joining this webinar through various social media platforms. With these few words, once again, hearty welcome to you all. Dhanyavad, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, sir, for the welcome remarks. Now I like to request Sri Kiran Rijijuji, Honorable Minister of State, Independent Charge for Youth Affairs and Sports, and Additional Charge, Minister of State, Independent Charge for AYUSH, Government of India, for the presidential address. Sri Kiran Rijijuji is considered the face of Bharatiya Janata Party in Northeast India. He served as a member of Khadi and Village Industries Commission from 2000 to 2005 at a very young age of 29. Sri Kiran Rijijuji has been appointed as India's new Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports in 2019. He is arguably the most iconic political leader from the state of Arunachal Pradesh and Northeast India in recent times. He is often being referred to as the voice of Northeast India. An active social worker since school days, led various social movements as a social worker and student leader, represented India in various social and cultural events held in many countries, was member of youth and cultural team, which participated in the Festival of India in USSR. In 1987, participated in seminars in various countries, part of parliamentary delegations to various countries. Sri Kiran Rijijuji recently gets additional charge of the Ministry of Ayurveda, Yoga and Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha and Homeopathy, Ayush.
Namaste. My greetings to you all. It is great pleasure for me to be with you once again on Sunday's discussion series on yoga, which was inaugurated on 16th May 2021 in the run-up to the International Day of Yoga 2021. This time, the theme is Yoga at Work, Path to Success. I would like to congratulate the Ministry of AYUSH, the team of SOCHM, and Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga for organizing this series by inviting eminent yoga masters of the country and learned subject experts to enlighten the viewers on various dimensions of yoga. It is befitting that eminent yoga guru Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudevji, who is ranked amongst 50 most influencers of India, a mystic and respected by millions of followers in India and abroad. Thank you, Sadhguruji, for accepting our invitation to be with us from US. Today, it is my pleasure to listen to you. Ministry of AYUSH, Government of India has taken many key initiatives in association with organizations like SOCHM, leading yoga institutes, and various stakeholders to take yoga and yoga practice to every village and individuals. It has become a matter of priority for ministry to promote yoga for health and well-being under these pandemic conditions. It is my request to everyone to please consider the coming International Day of Yoga 2021 as an occasion to dedicate yourself to practice of yoga, and as we confine to ourselves our respective homes, let Be with yoga, be at home, shall be mantra of International Day of Yoga 2021 celebration. I'm happy to associate with this Sunday's discussion series on yoga and listen to the words of respected Sadhguruji and other scholars. Please stay at home and safe. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for the presidential address. Thank you so much. Now we move on for the keynote address by Sri Sadhguruji, founder, Isha Foundation. Ranked amongst the 50 most influential people in India, Sri Sadhguruji is a yogi, mystic, visionary, and author. Absolute clarity of perception, not only in matters spiritual but in business, environmental, and international affairs, places him as a speaker and opinion maker of international renown. Sri Sadhguruji's celebratory engagement with life includes a deep involvement in fields as diverse as architecture, visual design, poetry, painting, sports, music, aviation, and motorcycling. 3 decades ago, Sadhguruji founded Isha Foundation, a non-profit human service organization with human well-being as its core commitment. Isha is supported over 11 million volunteers in more than 300 centers worldwide. Sri Sadhguruji has been conferred the Padma Vibhushan, India's highest annual civilian award.
Namaskaram to all of you who gathered at the Sunday discussion organized by the Ayush Ministry. My special namaskarams to our Honorable Minister, Kiran Rijjuji. Well, yoga at work, yoga at home, that's not the way to look at it. Yoga is for life. When I say yoga is for life, yoga is about life. Yoga is of life. Yoga is the mechanics of life. So how profoundly you understand the mechanics of life, that is how gracefully you will live, that is how successful you will be in whatever your endeavor is. The simple way to put it across is, today in the world, everybody, unfortunately even very young people, are complaining constantly about stress at work. Work is stressful, one reason, one fundamental reason is most of the people are doing something to get something. They're not doing what they really want to do. In the sense, our work activity, which could be normally for most human beings, the major or the majority of the time is consumed by work, and that majority of the time they're doing something that they don't care for. This is very important that you change this. This is one important aspect of yoga, is that whatever you're doing, well, in yoga, in the Yoga Sutras, it is called Ishvara Pranidhyana. Well, don't think it's about some god, it simply means that what you're doing is always done as an offering, as a contribution to everything around you. When I say this, it doesn't matter what is the nature of your work, in some way it is impacting somebody's life. Whether, like our minister is here, doing very wonderful things for the nation, or you're driving an auto rickshaw or a taxi, doesn't matter what you're doing, you can either do it as a contribution to impact every other life around you positively, or you can simply do it to earn a living. There is a beautiful story in the yogic culture. On a certain day, 3 men were working in one place. Another man came by and asked the first man, "What are you doing here?" That man looked up and said, "Well, are you blind? Can't you see? I'm just cutting stone." He was cutting stone. He went to the second man and asked, "What are you doing here?" He said, oh, I do something to earn a living, I have a family, I have to earn some money, so I'm doing this work. He went to the third man and asked the same question. He stood up in great joy and said, I am building a wonderful temple here. This is the context of life that you need to change if you want yoga in your life. This is a fundamental context that you have to change. All three of them are doing the same work. In one man's experience, he's just cutting stone. In another man's experience, he's just earning a living. In another man's experience, he is creating a wonderful temple. Every single action that you do, if you do it this way, this is one fundamental dimension of yoga, of yama niyama. This will get taken care of. If this is taken care of with simple practices, very simple practices, you can alter the chemistry in your system within a few weeks of practice, that you can make this chemistry not just peaceful, you can make it blissful. When your chemistry is of blissful nature, then no matter what is the kind of situation, all you have, the only option you have is you do the best you can in every given situation. This is very important because in our lives, if we do not do what we cannot do, there is no problem. But if we do not do what we can do, we will become a disaster. Only if you are blissful by your own nature, that is, you are not trying to extract joy from what you do in the world, your life is an expression of joy. Only if you do this, you will be able to use the full scope of your abilities, your intelligence and the opportunities that you have. Otherwise, you will end up living a life that you will not even do what you can do, and that is a disastrous life. Well, it's become fashionable for people to go about saying, I'm stressed out, I'm… I would like to hear young people saying, instead of stressed out, they must say, I'm blissed out. That will only happen if there is yoga in your life, because yoga is, on one level, is about changing the fundamental chemistry. Why chemistry? Well, every human experience has a chemical basis to it. What you call as peace, what you call as joy, what you call as misery, what you call as pain, what you call as suffering, what you call as ecstasy, what you call as agony, all of them have a chemical basis to it. If you create a chemistry of blissfulness, one thing that will happen to you in your life is, you are not the issue in your life. You are never the problem in any given situation. Well, only when you have the ability never to be the problem in any given situation, will you dare to stand up and confront problems in the world and see how to find solutions to it. Otherwise, when you yourself are a big issue, you will not take up any great issue. In this way, human potential is going to serious waste right now, simply because we have made it fashionable, right from a kindergarten child talking about stress, school children talking about stress. This nonsense about stress must stop, because stress is not because of the nature of your work. Stress is simply your inability to manage your own body, manage your own mind, manage your own emotions and your chemistry. If you do not know how to manage this, you will be stressful, not because of the situations in which you exist, not because of the nature of work that you do, simply because you have become a disabled life. It is time that you bring this fantastic technology that we call as yoga. Technologies for well-being. I call this inner engineering, that you engineer yourself in such a way that you are blissful by your own nature. Now, you are not an impediment in your life. There are 1,000 impediments in the world around you. We will deal with it to the best of our capability, but you should never be an obstruction in your own life. But if you're tripping on your own feet, that is a tragic life. Bring yoga into your life in its classical context. Bring yoga in its purity into your life. This will be the end of a stressful thing. So, it is not about work being stressful, you are stressful, so you must change the quality of who you are. This is very, very important for the well-being of the individual, for the well-being and progress of the nation, and above all, for the well-being of the humanity. Let's make this happen. Bring yoga into your life. Everything that is necessary, we are willing to do. You must understand, myself and thousands of volunteers are working 7 days of the week, 18 to 20 hours a day. We don't look stressed, do we? Yes, sometimes we're exhausted physically, but never stressed. All this is being done so that there will be yoga in your life. Please make this happen for yourself. Let's make this happen. Bring yoga into your life and live a blissful life and explore the full depth and dimension of what it means to be human.
Thank you, Guruji. It was an honor to listen to your divine yet very valuable address. It has been an honor to have your esteemed. Now we are having thank you note by Mr. Vinit Agarwalji. Mr. Vinit Agarwalji, President, ASSOCHAM and Managing Director, Transport Corporation of India Limited. Mr. Vinit Agarwalji, the 40th President of ASSOCHAM, took office on December 19, 2020. He has the distinction of being the first head of a logistics company and one of the youngest industry captains to be appointed as the president of a leading chamber of commerce in India. He is the Managing Director, Transport of Corporation of India Limited, India's leading integrated multimodal logistics service provider. In 2014, he was awarded the prestigious Young CEO of the Year by CEO Magazine. He was also named among the 200 young entrepreneurs nominated by the Government of India under the Champions of Change initiative. More recently, he was awarded CEO of the Year in 2018 by the Indian Institute of Material Management. Oh,
Good morning. It is my pleasure to give the vote of thanks for today's morning program. It has indeed been a fantastic experience to listen to all the various dignitaries that have come today. First and foremost, I would like to thank the Honorable Minister of State for Youth Affairs and Sports and AYUSH, Shri Kiran Rijiju for your kind support. I would also like to thank Shri Sadhguruji, founder Isha Foundation. Sir, you're always a source of great inspiration to all of us. I would also like to thank Dr. Ishwar Basav Reddy ji and Mrs. Upasana Arora for your kind support in making this event very successful. I will agree with everyone today that yoga is extremely important, not just in today's times with the pandemic and the lockdown, but at every stage of your life. I'm a personal practitioner of yoga and meditation for a number of years and have seen the enormous benefits I have accrued from it. I'm sure you will also take some of these and practice them in your daily lives. This event today, along with the Ministry of AYUSH and ASSOCHAM, is one of the ways that we want to bring to our members ways to improve your life, as well as to ensure that we are healthy in this time of the pandemic. We are looking forward to the International Yoga Day on the 21st of June with the Honorable Prime Minister of India. I would again like to thank everyone in joining us today, as well as the Ministry of AYUSH and all our team members in making this event a great success. Thank you and be safe.
thank you, sir. Thank you for your vote of thanks. Now we move on to our very informative experience sharing talks. In the panel, we are having Mr. Anurag Aroraji, Senior Vice President, Indian Government Business, VFS Global, Dr. Raghavendra Raoji, Director, Central Council for Research in Yoga and Naturopathy, Ministry of AYUSH, Government of India, Mr. Tomio Isogaiji, former Managing Director, Sharp India Limited and member BKS Iyengar Yoga Association of Japan, member Ayurveda Society in Japan. Mr. Anurag Aroraji is an MBA from ISB Hyderabad and a master's in psychology, started career as a sales executive in DHL worldwide, followed by launching Mumbai's and India's very first intra-city courier in early 90s. Continued his journey in travel and tourism, being the first to bring Maldives in Indian outbound market. Joined VFS in 2012. He was also the project director of Asia Pacific Oncology Conference in 2009. Now, as a senior vice president, he leads India government visa, passport, and consular services outsourcing business in 12 countries. Over to you, sir.
So you are mute.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Namaskaram to everyone, my fellow speakers and friends on the show, and the audience from all over the globe. First of all, I would like to thank Ministry of AYUSH and ASSOCHAM for having given me this opportunity to be in the platform in the August company of our Honorable Minister Kiran Rijijuji, and also the much revered mystic Sadhguruji, and whom I have been a keen follower of. And in this sharing of experiences with you all today, I would take the liberty of to share with you some quotes which have stuck by me, which Sadhguruji said over the period of time, over the period of years. So for me, yoga and work are closely intertwined. Yoga for me is work, and work for me is yoga. And to some, it can be a very profound statement. But I can tell you that everyone in this journey can rediscover their own profundity around this experience. Before I start sharing my own experiences in the corporate world and personal life, how yoga has changed my attitude and my life, I would like to ask three very thought-provoking questions to everyone. When was the last time that you closed your eyes and listened to your favorite song completely? When was the last time that you relished your favorite food and enjoyed the taste? When was the last time that you closed your eyes and in silence for a few minutes, listening to your heartbeats and talking to yourself? These are the things that I think when you start asking yourself, you will get various answers of what you must do to bring in that happiness and bliss in your life, which in my belief and in my experience, it's yoga, meditation, which has helped me achieve that some sense of bliss and happiness. I am not perfect yet. I am not there yet. But one thing is most important and significant is that I made that change and started this journey. I was introduced to yoga at a very tender age, when I was just 7 to 8 years in Dehradun, by one saint, yoga saint from Banaras. He only used to teach children. And why? Because possibly they were ever willing and with a fertile mind to adapt and learn. This is something that I would like to share with everybody here who has children or who who have younger brothers and sisters in their family, to introduce them to yoga at a very early age. It will become a way of life for them as they grow and stay happy. I lost touch with yoga at various milestones and various phases of my life due to the hurly-burly world of corporate competition, eagerness to prove oneself, eagerness to grow professionally in life, and the work that I had to do around it. It took me away from yoga at various points of life. But surprisingly, possibly because this was at a tender age, this was embedded into my subconscious, that I keep getting experiences to bring it back into my life. I remember when I was in Mumbai, and I was on my own as an entrepreneur in early 90s. And because of that, fast pace in a very competitive environment, which was very unforgiving, for a month, I was totally zoned out. And in that moment of time, I shifted out of Mumbai for a month to Bhopal. And there I picked up, suddenly I got introduced to transcendental meditation by Maharishi. And I picked it up. So it came back to life. I came back to Mumbai very rejuvenated, very re-energized. The second incident I remember was when I was posted in Colombia and Bogota in 2016. And on an International Yoga Day, the local embassy of India had managed an event in a public park in Bogota, and we were expecting about 500 Colombians to come and attend that program. And suddenly I saw 2,500 almost Colombians walking into the public park with their yoga mats and the water bottles. And I had to be honest with you, I felt so ashamed that time that being from the land of yoga they call it in Spanish. So coming from the land of yoga, I was myself so detached away from it. It is very important for all of us who are working in the corporate world, that to recognize that everything is around the result and the outcome of the performance that you make. Your assessments are done on that basis. So at some point of time, one has to ensure to remain energized and not get subjective into the place of work. And how do we do that? In my view, just by allowing yoga to walk into your life in a very simple manner. How one could do it is very simple. It doesn't matter whether we can perfectly sit cross-legged in Sukhasana. And it doesn't matter that we cannot meditate for more than 5 minutes. It is fine. We can sit on a sofa and do some very basic stretching and pranayama exercises, which can, even at work, sitting on our seat, which can bring in the sense of balance and how we look at life, brings in the positive attitude, increases creativity, increases energy levels, takes away subjectivity, brings in objectivity. We are better to listen and deal more effectively and happily with our colleagues, with our peer group. And what exactly matters end of the day is that it does not only help us at work, but also into life beyond work. When we go back home, we take happiness back to home rather than the stress. So that is the key learning for me over the period of time. It is important to also recognize that what yoga does, it sets the cycle of life very smoothly by simplifying it. It enhances faith in yourself. It instills positive attitude towards life and brings us energy, rekindles the energy to bring happiness to work. It's most important to bring happiness to work. I take the liberty to quote from one of the interviews which Sadhguru had in 2016. And he said that, is it hard working or happy working? So it's very cliche and to keep using that he's a very hardworking person. But is it the right way to express this? Or should it be that he's a very happy working person? I do recognize that in today's corporate world, our to-do lists are getting longer by the day. Much of our work gets procrastinated. Our minds are cluttered. And the way to stop this vicious cycle is to, again, allow the yoga to step in, to bring in within our working space, within our life, which can give us the real bliss and happiness. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your experience with us. Now, I'd like to invite Dr. Raghavendra Raoji, Director, Central Council for Research in Yoga and Naturopathy. Dr. Raghavendra Raoji joined SVIASA as a research fellow in 1998 and went on to become an assistant professor. He has completed several research projects in rheumatoid arthritis, pre-diabetes, diabetes, CVD, risk prevention using both yoga and naturopathy, interventions at Swami Vivekananda Yoga University, MS Ramaya Hospital, HCG Bangalore Institute of Oncology. He is a member of the AYUSH Research Portal, Government of India. He has won several awards. Recently, he has joined the post of Director, Central Council for Research in Yoga and Naturopathy, Ministry of AYUSH, Government of India. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vani. Greetings and good morning to all of you. I'm happy to be amongst the distinguished panelists here, as well as stalwarts like Sri Jaggi Vasudevji, as well as Sri Kiran Rijuji, for Honorable Minister for Youth Affairs and Sports, as well as additional charge of Ministry of AYUSH. I'm here to just express my views on how yoga can be useful at workplace. You all heard about the philosophical context and what yoga is all about, and what yoga should really be, or what yoga should really mean to be in your lives. Now, what is important to understand is, what does really yoga do when it is being used in the context of workplace? So let us just begin by understanding what happens at work. We all have 8 hours of work shifts. We all work 8 hours a day in our office. That's just normal timings we seen globally world over. You do have some people working for 10 hours, even up to 12 hours. But what studies have shown very clearly is that in our extended 8-hour stretch, we are productive only for 3 hours at a stretch. We are not productive thereafter. So about 40% of productivity is there in our 8 hours of work environment. And also what the studies also shown very clearly is that about 70% of them, okay, there's so much amount of time of 8 hours, but 70% of them get disengaged from their work at one point of time or other. In the sense, there's a lot of so much clutter in the mind, they're not able to pay attention to it, they're not able to focus, they're not able to concentrate. What happens with work is, when there is work demands, or when there are work pressures, or there are internal conflicts in the environment, work environment, or any other things for that matter. Maybe you will be carrying out some sort of stress from your family, or from your surroundings, or from your peers, or from your friends. All these are not really impact work environment inside you, the internal environment inside you. You get worked up, you get stressed, you're not able to think properly. There is what is called as a fight and flight response. You try to take breaks away from the work. There's nothing but you want to run away from the work, run away from the situation. You just go, you want to have a small smoke, you want to have some pan parak, want to have several cups of tea over the day. So all these are nothing but distraction strategies, which are nothing but called as a flight response, where you're not able to accommodate yourself with the work, you're not able to face the pressures of your work, and you often get deranged or disengaged, we call them as. And this is very, very common in the workplace environment. And this is going to affect the workplace productivity. What do you mean by productivity? The productivity means the amount of dollars spent for the amount of output just coming out of the amount of dollars spent, or the resources spent on getting that particular output. And India is one of the lowest countries in terms of workplace productivity. The reason here is also to do with several factors: the working conditions, the skill of the workforce, also to do with the work-related stress, really not addressed today. So the work productivity in India is about $6 per hour, as far as the Association of Survey of Industries done in 2013, compared to that of Singapore, which was about $57 per hour. This shows where we really stand in terms of productivity at work. And this productivity at work is really affected when you have work-related stress. And they have shown, another study has really shown that 12.8 million working days are lost every year due to work-related stress. Okay, there's about 21.2 days per case or per person is what it says. And how can this be helped? How can really yoga do a thing on this? There's a lot of studies being done by National Health Service in UK government. First, to do a very big study, look at the socio-economic benefits of adding yoga at workplace. The landmark study published in 2018, it showed that employees who had musculoskeletal problems like back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, migraine headaches, and they had absenteeism. They were absent from work because of sickness episodes, and they had to go see a doctor. They had to find a cure. They had to find a treatment, and there was insurance paying for that kind of treatment. There is a study by using a 8-week yoga intervention as an add-on to the conventional treatment these people required compared to conventional treatment alone, care alone. And what is the interest of this for 1 long year? And they saw that the number of lost working days in the yoga group was just only 2 in the year compared to 43 in the persons who had only the usual care. So they showed that there's a very social benefit of adding yoga to the workplace, adding yoga to prevent injuries at workplace. Okay, and this is a very, very important aspect of it, which came about in the NHS document, and they started putting up guidelines on seeing how we can add physical activity, how we can add yoga in somebody's workplace. And a very important concept based on research studies, based on evidence and data, shows very clearly that adding yoga at work can really improve the workplace productivity. What is yoga? Yoga is karmasu kaushalam, as per Bhagavad Gita. It is nothing but skill in action, as Jaggi Vasudevji put very rightfully. It depends on what is it that you are trying to attain from the work you do. Is it happiness? What kind of happiness? Is it about giving something to the environment, to the community, which you want to do? Or is it something you want it for yourself? So when the thing is that when you want to do something for the community, the happiness is manifold. When you want to do something for yourself, then you have a lot of desires, you have attachments, you have stress at work. So understanding that you are doing something for the community is a very important perspective, as Jaggi Vasudevji really put it up in a very right context. And that is what, when everybody imbibes, stress at workplace will surely come down. No doubt about this. Again, what kind of yoga to be used and when to be used is also very important aspects. The moment we say at workplace you want to do yoga, they will say, I am busy, I don't have time. Okay, so we'll go forward as we discuss in the panel discussion about how to take care of this issue, how to manage yoga at workplace as well at home, how to use yoga in your lives, and which kind of yoga can be used. Simple practices can be used to help in mitigating your stress as well as in keeping your physical fitness and focus in your work. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Yoga is Karmasu Counselam. I hope I have pronounced this correctly. And I'm sure with this, everybody will introduce yoga into their work and reduces their stress level. Thank you, sir. Now I request Mr. Tomio Isogaiji, former Managing Director, Sharp India Limited and member BKS Iyengar Yoga Association of Japan, member Ayurveda Society in Japan. Mr. Tomio Isogaiji is the former Managing Director of Sharp India Limited. He has 37 years career at Sharp Corporation, an over 100 years old Japanese electronics giant who has spent more than 20 years out of Japan, engaged in the global sales and marketing of consumer electronics, domestic appliances, communication devices, office automation products, and solar power generation systems that Sharp manufactures. Mr. Isagaiji has retired from his career at Sharp in September 2016. After 6 months, he returned to Pune to engage in his new endeavor to become a bridge person connecting India and Japan in commercial, academic, and cultural aspects. Mr. Isogaiji now is a freelance advisor to 5 Indian and 1 MNC companies. As from 1st of April 2021, Mr. Isogaiji has been appointed as honorary member of and an advisor to Indo-Japan Business Council, Pune. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Very good morning, everyone. And it is my privilege and great honor and extremely immense pleasure to be here today in the presence of Honorable Minister of AYUSH and Sadhguruji. Well, I like to just to talk about my own experiences about yoga. It was where 2014, I started to practice yoga because being in India from Japan, I had never had a chance or I never experienced yoga before. But being in India, I wanted to do. And I started out and I felt so good. Then when I retired from Sharp back in 2016, yes, I decided to be a part of that yoga group. So I made myself a member of Ayanga Yoga Association in Japan. At the same time, Ayurveda Society in Japan too, because I thought yoga and Ayurveda both together can help a lot of people for their very happy and healthy life. And as you know, Japan is a very fast aging population, aging society, aging community, where almost 30% of the people out there are more than 65 years old. Just imagine that. And it's still growing. The number is growing. The percentage is growing there. So I thought the yoga as well as Ayurveda can really help many people to keep their healthy life for long term. So that was my determination, and to promote those two ancient wisdom of India. Back in 2015, I was very fortunate to be invited to the first International Yoga Day organized and celebrated by the MIT World Peace University. MIT World Peace University has conducted the first International Yoga Day, and I was the guest for the founder of MIT, respected Honorable Dr. Vishwanath Karabji. And later on, every year, in the 3 consecutive years, I was invited by him to be the guest just next to him and practicing yoga on that special day. Now, talking about Japan, as I said, I have never experienced yoga till I came here and started in 2014. So that means in the corporate world, the yoga is not practiced. And yoga is well known as well. It's just like kind of fashion for the younger female fans. It was like just like that, and very few numbers of male fans are there. I hear that about 70% of yoga fans in Japan are female, and only 30% are male. And aged people, like more than 40, 50, 60, almost nobody is doing yoga. This is the real issue from my point of view. That's why, that's another reason why I'm, really keen to promote yoga as well as Ayurveda for the aged population in Japan for their healthy life. Because I'm a good I have to be the good model here. I've been practicing yoga on a weekly basis since 2015, and I feel so good and so nice in so good condition in my health. Even this under the COVID situation, I never felt I was sick. And I was determined not to meet any doctors anymore. I can do myself, I can heal myself, just depending on my immune system, which is fine enough. So I think I can promote this way to inspire the people, get to know about the yoga as well as Ayurveda, and to help them lead them to a happy and very healthy life. Under this COVID situation, I think everything is at home, and this enables even more opportunities for practicing yoga. I am a good example. Since 2014, I started practicing yoga once a week only. I was going to the class, right? But because of this pandemic, since last year, I started to get this class online. This online class enabled me to increase the number. So I'm just taking the class twice a week right now. So this can happen to everyone. This can happen to all the people having this internet connection and experience, or even to start the yoga practicing on a daily basis, or as frequently as possible. So this is a great opportunity. I believe the pandemic now gives us the opportunity to experience yoga even much more frequently for our happier and healthier life. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir. After listening to the experience talks by our eminent panelists, I'm sure everybody will introduce yoga into their regular routine, whether they are at home or at work. Now we are having the interesting session by our eminent panelists, question and answers. So I'll start with Dr. Raghavendra Raoji. Sir, some professional says they don't get time to yoga, exercises or meditation. What advice would you like to give them? Will yoga nidra or yogic sleep could be possible solution for them? And is this also a solution to anxiety and stress related diseases?
Thank you, ma'am. So the first of all, talking about they don't have time, or trying to say that we are very busy, we don't have time to do yoga itself is a misnomer, is anathema. Why I say this is because when these professionals are so engrossed in their work, what happens here is there is a lot of stress there. It's increased speed of thought processes going on there. They're not able to slow down their mind. They're not able to stop. They're not able to smell the roses. They're not able to think. Okay. So what is important for them to tell is make it very clearly that how much time are you taking out for yourself to relax. This is very, very important aspect of it. Because what happens as I told you earlier, 70% of the time they are disengaged apart from their work. They don't really concentrate on their work. They're all in all other nitty-gritties which are not productive at all as far as the work is concerned. And that's because of the increased amount of stress and thought processes which are going in the mind. So what we really tell them is to take small micro breaks every 2 hours or every 3 hours, because we know the attention span is not more beyond 3 hours when you start working continuously. Take those micro breaks, start doing yoga. Okay, so what sort of yoga can be done there? Very simple thing, because yoga nidra is a very long process. It is difficult for somebody who is very restless, who is anxious. Just lie down in shavasana or follow some instructions. So what we say is use simple relaxation techniques, do deep breathing. Okay, like for example, you breathe for 5 counts, you breathe out for 5 counts. Do simple deep breathing. This itself will cause calming of your mind. It will calming of your thoughts inside your mind. And this is also well proven even in physiological techniques of calming down the mind is by doing deep breathing because it helps in reducing your heart rate, it reduces your BP, it makes you very, very calm. So this brings about autonomic regulation of your nervous system, which helps in calming you down. It's called as a relaxation rest. So we start engaging people with small practices initially. So you don't have to spend more time on this. Spend 5 minutes, use 10 minutes, take micro breaks, do these small techniques. You can just relax on the chair, some stretching exercises and asanas. Okay, you can just relax, listen to a yogic relaxation technique and relax yourself. You just lie down, just become aware of the breath, or try to do deep breathing as you lie down. Okay, simple things can be done, which can be very useful for these people and their workplace itself. And this is known to have very, very good effects on their productivity as well. So we have seen some people when you start using these kind of micro breaks to some of the corporates. So what we saw was their efficiency improved. Okay, and very simple thing to do is such corporate situations in such high pressure work environments. What we used to do is we go to the company, talk to the people. First, we used to conduct a workshop with repetitive stress injuries. People who have migraine headaches, those who have neck pain, those who have shoulder pain, who have a carpal tunnel, who have back pain, and so on and so on. These are people who really are scouting for yoga, for some solution. And when they came into the yoga class and started showing the benefit, this rubbed off on their colleagues. Now I also get often some pains. Let me also prevent these pains. They also started taking up yoga. This is how we can start creating a snowball kind of an effect, wherein you start motivating some people in the company, and soon after they start motivating their peers. Okay, this is how we really gradually start the yoga interventions in the company. And of course, we know that stress-related ailments are too big today in the scenario. 1 in every 3 persons are hypertensive above 40 years. We are also the diabetic capital of the world. We are also the cardiovascular disease capital of the world. Okay, so people at very young age are now getting hypertension, getting heart disease, and this is more with your sedentary activity, lifestyle, and work-related stress. Taking care of this is very, very important. Having yoga, having good nutrition, having a good physical activity regimen is also very important. Now, one more point I want to put up here is people try to compare yoga with walking, try to compare yoga with running, want to compare yoga with cycling. Okay, they say I do cycling every day, I do walking, I play badminton every day. I don't need to do yoga. I'm physically active. Okay, so we should understand 2 important distinctions here. Yoga is an exercise for the mind, not just a physical exercise. You are doing introspection, you're becoming mentally aware of the changes inside your body. You are doing the inward dhyana or meditation, we call it. Okay, so whereas when you do cycling or you do walking or a marathon or whatever it is you're doing, you're more giving exercise to your body. At the same time, your mind is running fast. It is not slowing down. You may be thinking about your office, you may be thinking about somebody else, or you may be on a phone call while walking. So that mind is still going off round and round, and is still in hyper speed. So you're not slowing down the mind with those physical activities there. You need to slow down the mind, and that is where these mindful exercises like yoga play a very, very important role.
Thank you, sir. Now, what we learned, whether we exercise outside by running or cycling, we must do yoga along with that. Thank you so much, sir. Now, I move on to Mr. Anurag Arora, sir. There is a lot of competition in today's world. Do you think yoga plays an essential role in improving the concentration and improve productivity?
Very, very relevant question, Maniji. Especially in today's times where people are working from home, many of them, and they're feeling a lot of stress. My learned friend, Dr. Rao, has covered most of these points, but I would try to just share some of my experience with it. I keep hearing from people that they are very busy. And I'm a very busy person, or he or she is a very busy person. I would like to ask, and I ask myself many times, am I busy or am I preoccupied with thoughts? I take a leaf from one of the early Sadhguru's lessons, again, which has stuck by me all these years, where he said that there is no busy mind, they are mostly preoccupied minds. There's an ever increasing, as I said earlier, to-do list. I recall a very short story from one of my experiences in Bhopal from a place called Bharat Bhavan, which is a kind of a fertile ground for the young artists and the painters and sculptors. I met an artist who had a studio in Bharat Bhavan. And he took me around and I saw various paintings which were painted half, were not completed. I asked him, I said, why are these paintings not completed? It's a day's work for you. He says, no. He says, whenever my mind gets preoccupied with thoughts, I lose concentration. When I lose concentration, I can't paint with the same love which I want to pour into those paintings, and that has to reflect, communicate with people who get these paintings eventually. So what he does, he used to take 2 days off, do pranayam and a little bit of yoga, listen to his favorite music, talk to the people who used to bring positivity to his life, and then after 2 or 3 days, he used to come back to his studio to complete the with the same love, zest, and zeal. And he later on became a celebrity painter in the country and abroad. So I believe, and it has been a personal experience, I have not been an exception. I have faced this situation several times in my professional life and personal life, that the mind was more cluttered with various thoughts than actual busyness that I had from my core area of work. It was much less than these thoughts that I was attending to. And yoga and pranayam can actually broaden that calmness, decluttered my thoughts. And for everybody, I strongly believe and I recommend that if you do that if you start doing a little bit of pranayam and a little bit of meditation, believe me, just 5 or 6 minutes, where, as Dr. Rao said, the thoughts will start getting back organized and flow like a relentless stream of a river. It will flow, and you would feel the stress also going away. So, few tips which Dr. Rao also touched upon. One is that just close your mind and sit on any place that you want to. Just close your eyes and feel the calmness. Let the thoughts come in. Don't resist them. They will go away. They'll disappear. They'll vanish. Recognize them, what these thoughts are, for 3 or 4 minutes. And then you just concentrate on your breathing and the sectional breathing. Feel and make an effort whether you can breathe from your abdomen, you can breathe from your thorax region, which is around the ribs and the lungs, or you can breathe even from your clavicles, which is your shoulders, your neck and throat area. Very simple. And if you start focusing on these 3 areas of breathing, suddenly, and with eyes closed, I can bet that within few minutes you will see these unnecessary thoughts going away, your concentration coming back, your creativity and energy, positive energy, rising up, making you fresh and alert at work. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your nice points on the breathing exercises for all of us. I'm sure we will start from tomorrow onwards. Mr. Tomio Isogaiji, sir, you are representative of many organizations. What are your views on yoga as a skill and how it can be integrated with corporates or place of work?
Well, thank you for the question. Actually, I'm not very much qualified to talk about the effectiveness of yoga, but I'm a fan of yoga and I'm enjoying it. And how to make it into the corporate level is the issue. I think I can propose one thing from my side. As Dr. Rao said, there should be some micro break for just 15 minutes or maximum 30 minutes to do practice of yoga in the workplace. And now is the time that we can do it because we are all working from home. That's the comfort that we have. Just next to my sitting place, there is a mat there. I can just go there and stand and start yoga, right? Anytime. And nobody is bothering about that. In the workplace, obviously it is, very challenging. So even post-COVID, I would propose today, why not corporate world decide the time for practicing yoga on every day? Just like in Japan, in the corporate world, in all the manufacturing, companies, just like Sharp, every day in the morning, 5 minutes before the working time starts, there was a time slot given to all the workmen to do exercise, the practicing exercise every morning. Yes, it was just determined by the company and the corporate kind of schedule, a part of it. So why not yoga can be just like that? Say, after 2 hours of concentrated time, right? Normally people starting in Japan to work at 9 o'clock. So 2 hours later, 11 o'clock, just set the time, 11 to 11:30, yoga time. After the lunch time, lunch break is normally taken in Japan 12 to 1. So after 1 o'clock, 2 hours concentrated, focused time of work, 3 o'clock, from 3 to 3:30, another yoga time. If this can be introduced widely in the corporate world, then nobody is bothering, right? No phone calls will be coming, right? 11 to 11:30, no phone calls, no contacts, no meetings, no visiting, and everybody's the same. So if nobody is being bothered by that, then everybody can enjoy this time for relaxation, this time for refreshments, this time for meditation, and the corporate world will get the benefit out of it. So this is something that I think I can propose to the world everywhere, right? Obviously, the time difference is there, so it can be adjusted certain way, but at least in Japan, for example, or in India as well, the set time dedicated for yoga can be determined and can be practiced everywhere, and everybody's happy. How's that?
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful suggestion. Now I move on to Dr. Raghavendra Raoji. Sir, what yoga would you like to recommend for the people who can devote some time in their office but not at home?
Very good question, G. Very important to understand is what kind of work people do at home, at work. Like there are some people who have most of the time are on the desk, they do a desk job. There are people who are out in the field, who are always standing for long hours in the industries, especially in the floor of the industries, in the floor managers are there, workers are there, they are standing for very long hours. And there are other conditions where the people are sitting in front of a computer for very long hours. Computer visual display terminal, in front of a visual display terminal. So all these three categories of people have different kind of stressors, physical stressors, I mean. Like people who are sitting on a desk job would have more stress on their backs, okay, and they have more sedentariness. They require a lot of stretching, they require a lot of asanas. People who are standing for long hours would probably require inverted asanas, they require Uttana Padasana, raising the legs above because they're standing for very long hours. Because especially people in traffic police or people working in industries who are standing for long hours are known to also get varicose veins. Okay, they have leg pains, calf muscle pains, they have knee pains, they have hip joint problems, they have back problems, and so on. So to take care of these important issues, we need to really tailor the yoga interventions for them. Similarly, those who are in front of the visual display terminal, they're working with the computers for long hours, would have eye strain, would have headaches, ocular headaches, okay, would have neck pain, would have repetitive stress injuries in terms of using the keyboard, okay, like a carpal tunnel syndrome. So the kind of yoga done there would be entirely different. So we need to really tailor the yoga intervention depending on the kind of workplace they are in, the kind of job they are doing in, because each kind of job would kind of produce a different kind of physical stress for that particular person. So looking at that particular aspect, looking at the sedentariness of the activity, we need to tailor the yoga interventions. The Ministry of AYUSH has also come up with a very small Y-Break, it's called as a small application called Y-Break. Check up on the Google Play Store. And this Y-Break is known to really, the 5-minute yoga intervention is known to really help in improving, giving a lot of stretches along with a little bit of relaxation in the end, which is known to give a lot of, invigorate these people, participants, to take up yoga in a better way in the workplace. So yoga can be tailored based on the workplace environment and based on the people's needs as well.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Anurag Arora. Sir, would you like to suggest how yoga can help remove stress at work and help in time management?
In fact, in today's world, again, another very, very relevant, important question. Stress, it's a chicken and egg story. Whether stress comes first or our time management goes for a 6 first. So it's like which comes first. What I have experienced and what I have seen in the peer group and the communities that I have worked and lived in is that stress is our own, the manufacturer. We are the victims and we are the aggressors as well. How do we make that happen? Is because we allow the stress to come in, because we are running behind our schedules. We are trying to do 100 things at one time. And as we heard from our learned colleagues earlier, it kind of clutters the mind. And when it clutters the mind, when we are not at peace, we are not happy about what we are doing, is something what brings in stress. I again take a leaf from, from the lessons from what Sadhguru said today in the address. It says it's fine if you don't do what you cannot do, but it's absolutely not fine when you don't do what you can. And when you don't do what you can is what, in my view, suppresses your happiness, suppresses your emotional expressions. We should ask ourselves, how free are we with our emotional expressions today? Whenever there is something good happens or there is a laughter around, are we smiling naturally? Or is it a forced smile that we bring on our face, clenching our jaws internally, which nobody possibly can see? These could be the measurement of stress or no stress. In my view, what yoga does, what pranayama does, what meditation does, it enlarges the spectrum of life, giving different meaning to the living. A lot of people say that, we listen to music to de-stress ourselves. Some people go on social media to de-stress themselves. Some people watch a movie. In my view, whatever works for anybody to feel happy, they should be doing every day, day in and day out, what makes them really happy, what helps them express their emotionality in a very free-flowing way. That is important. That's a question that you ask yourself. So yoga and meditation and pranayama, what they essentially can help a person, even with 5 or 10 minutes a day, or as Dr. Isogai said, just half an hour with no telephone, nothing, no computers around you, is something that brings in happiness. And the moment happiness starts coming into your life, in the way you live, in the way you work, the stress will evaporate. You don't have to push the stress out manually or physically. It will just evaporate because something else, something more meaningful, which is happiness, will take its place. And that's what my thoughts are to everybody on this show. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have that natural smile on your face.
Thank you, sir. Now I move on for the last question for this session to Mr. Tomio Isugaiji. Sir, do you think yoga is well spreading science in world, and there is also contribution of yoga in fostering relationship between India and Japan?
Yes, absolutely. Yoga has made very, very famous and familiar word in itself. And all the yoga practitioners in Japan, I think, I don't know even the numbers, thousands must be. In every town, there must be some yoga studios, what we call. And all those practitioners must know the origin of yoga. And even in general, even those who are not practicing yoga, the general public in Japan, they all know about what is yoga, just by the name, of course. And they all know yoga is the origin of India. And there are three things that they can remind or recall of India, and yoga must be number three. Yeah, for the sake of your curiosity, I tell you the first two. The first one, all the Japanese people get reminded of India. Number one is a curry, the food, curry. Number two is Buddhism or Buddha. And number three is, yes, yoga. So definitely yoga has already made fostering of the relationship in between the two nations. And this will grow. I believe it will grow by this pandemic situation that, as I said, can enable everyone to start practicing yoga online. There are so many online classes available right now. It was never been, right? Before pandemic, there was no online classes at all. All the classes, all the studios were physically available. So physically, there are capacities, limited capacities to handle and welcome the people. But now, boundless. There's no limit of how many yoga practitioners or learners can join in one class. This is great. This is great. And no distance at all. No, from nowhere, right? They can join one online class in Japan. You can join from India, right? I just joined the Ayurveda class, one of those workshops just a week ago. It was organized in Mumbai by the instructor of Iyengar Yoga Association. And it was spread to all over the world. Some people joined from the US, some people joined from Europe, and many people joined from Japan. And there was a translation, interpretation in between English and Japanese for the sake of them, right? This can be made possible, and why not to spread out through the world? And this is great opportunity that we have for all the world, and yoga can become the helping, an important helping element, refreshing element, meditational opportunities, and practicing some exercise and physical fitness. That's it. So I really recommend all the corporate world to think about, please, Asocham, think about, identify the time, decide, okay, 11 o'clock and 3 o'clock, a yoga time for half an hour for everybody. Thank you.
I thank all our esteemed panelists for their experience sharing talks as well as question answer sessions. Thank you so much. With this, we conclude our today's event. For concluding remarks, I invite Ms. Sobhika Rauji, Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, Ministry of AYUSH, Government of India. Ms. Sobhika Rauji is working as Assistant Professor Human Anatomy at Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, Ministry of AYUSH, Government of India. She has completed her Master's in Physiotherapy degree in 2011. Over to you, Sobhika ji.
Thank you, ma'am. Honorable dignitaries, respected panelists, and everyone who has joined this International Day of Yoga 2021 Sunday discussion series on the topic Yoga at Work, Path to Success. आप सभी को मेरा सादर प्रणाम. At the outset, I'd like to place my sincere gratitude to Honorable Minister of State, Independent Charge, Youth Affairs and Sports, and Additional Charge, Minister of State for Ayush, Shri Kiran Rijiju ji. We are extremely thankful to Shri Kiran Rijiju ji for sparing his valuable time and gracing the occasion with his dignified presence. Thank you so much, sir. My deepest and sincere gratitude to most respected Sadhguru ji for his enlightening keynote address. Thank you so much, Sadhguru ji, for sharing your insight and kind words of wisdom. It is an honor to have you with us in this Sunday discussion series. Thank you so much. I am also thankful to respected Dr. I.V. Basavareddy sir, Director Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, Ministry of AYUSH, Government of India, for being the catalyst in this Sunday discussion series. Thank you so much, sir. I would also like to thank respected Mr. Vineet Agarwal sir, President SHM and Managing Director Transport Corporation of India Limited, and Mrs. Upasana Arora ma'am, Co-Chairperson SHM, National Empowerment Council, and Chairperson, Yashoda Super Speciality Hospital. Thank you so much, sir and ma'am. I am also thankful to respected Dr. Raghavendra Rao sir, Director, Central Council for Research in Yoga and Naturopathy, Ministry of AYUSH, for sharing his opinion and findings with us on today's topic of discussion. Thank you so much. I am thankful to Mr. Anurag Arora sir, Senior Vice President, India Government Business, VFS Global, Mr. Tomio Isogai sir, former Managing Director, Sharp India Limited, for sharing their valuable thoughts and vision on today's topic. Thank you so much, sir. I also express my deep gratitude to media person, all my dear friends who have joined from India and abroad. Last but not the least, I would like to extend my thanks to the officers of Ministry of AYUSH, Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, SHM, and everyone who has been directly or indirectly associated with today's event for their untiring effort and support. I hope our wonderful audience reap the maximum benefit of today's discussion. Thank you all. Namaste.